Greetings all, and welcome to our webinar, Mentoring, One Strategy to Increase Nursing Workforce Diversity, What Every Mentor Needs to Know. My name is Winifred Quinn, and I am the Director of Advocacy and Consumer Affairs at the Center to Champion Nursing in America and with the Future of Nursing Campaign for Action, both of which are joint initiatives of AARP Foundation, AARP, and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. We are excited to bring you this webinar, and we hope that it will be a valuable resource for you as you build or work on your mentoring program. The Future of Nursing Campaign for Action is dedicated to improving the health and health equity of communities through a more diverse nursing workforce. We have been working on this issue for 7+ years, and in the last 2 years, we have been piloting a mentoring training program with different minority-serving schools of nursing. We are doing this in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health. In September of this year, 2019, we are bringing all 29 Baccalaureate of Science nursing programs from historically Black colleges and universities to our nation's capital, where we are hosting a mentoring training program with them. You will hear a bit more about that from one of our presenters, but we are hoping that this webinar will be downloaded in the future by participants in that training program, as well as in other future training programs that we will have with sets of minority-serving schools of nursing. Today's webinar, we will provide an overview of the mentoring process and orient individuals to the role of mentoring. And we will describe phases of a mentoring relationship and offer guidance to support successful mentoring relationships. I am pleased to introduce our two presenters. The first will be Dr. Vernell DeWitty. Dr. DeWitty has a multidimensional career in nursing, healthcare administration, and nursing academia. She previously directed the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation's New Career in Nursing Scholarship Program, a 9-year, $41 million national collaboration between the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the American Association of Colleges of Nursing. There, she created and implemented strategies and resources that contributed to academic success for underrepresented and disadvantaged nursing students in 130 schools located in 41 schools and the District of Columbia. She currently serves as Director of Diversity and Inclusion at AACN, and she is also a consultant to the Future of Nursing Campaign for Action. Dr. DeWitty also provides consulting services to healthcare systems in obstetric and neonatal risk assessment and new product development, and has also engaged with nursing schools seeking to implement strategies to increase diversity and inclusion in student populations. She has published in academic success and student progression as she continues to develop strategies and programs to increase the diversity and cultural competency of students in nursing education. Dr. DeWitty earned her doctorate degree from George Mason University, her MBA from Howard University, and her MSN from the Catholic University of America. She is a fellow in the American College of Healthcare Executives and received their certificate in Healthcare Executive as a Healthcare Executive in Diversity and Inclusion from the American Association of Medical Colleges and the Unconscious Bias Learning Lab by Cook-Ross. Dr. DeWitty has been the recipient of the American Nurses Association 2014 Mary Mahoney Award for her significant contributions to advancing equal opportunities in nursing. And she has received the President's Award from the State University of New York Downstate for her leadership and commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Dr. DeWitty has an unwavering passion for improving the health of vulnerable populations as reflected in her work on behalf of health equity, access to care, and increasing workforce diversity. She says, "We know that racial and ethnic diversity improves communication, tolerance, and trust, which may improve patient outcomes." After Dr. DeWitty speaks, then it will be Dr. Deborah Stamps. Dr. Stamps is the Vice President for the Rochester Regional Health Quality and Safety Institute. She partners with the Chief Medical Officer, and in collaboration with clinical leaders from across the system, Deb works to develop and implement programs that drive continual improvement in our clinical services. She also serves as the Chief Nursing Officer, Council's representative to the Executive Leadership Team of Rochester Regional Health, and facilitates the CNO Council. Deb's progressive career advancement at Rochester General Hospital started in 1989 as a licensed practical nurse, and has included roles from registered nurse to vice president and chief nursing officer at Newark Wayne Community Hospital and Clifton Springs Hospital and Clinic. Deb is committed to workforce development in the community, is an active participant in numerous regional anti-poverty initiatives, and is committed to improving the health of Rochester and beyond. Deb led the strategy to meet the needs of for the Rochester community through the expansion of the Isabella Graham Hart School of Practical Nursing, as well as providing home health aid and certified nursing assistant training programs. Deb built an educational pipeline for the healthcare workforce in the community by offering tuition discounts, reimbursement, and support that will enable workers to move forward in their education and professional growth. The Wegman Workforce Development Center was her brainchild, creating a healthcare career development path under one roof. Deb has developed paths and partnerships to provide diverse individuals with the education and skill development that they require to advance in a healthcare career, leading to employment. Under her leadership, diversity of the Isabel Graham Hart School of Practical Nursing has increased from 22% diversity to 67%. And Deb has implemented and continues to lead the health ministry at Genesee Baptist Church. Deb is recognized for her leadership in the profession of nursing in the Rochester community and nationally. The most recent recognition for her leadership is being a 2018 inaugural Rochester Business Journal's of Women's of Excellence awardee, a 2016 Athena Ed Award finalist, and in 2014, Deb received the Dr. Arthur Walton Executive Leadership Award and the 2014 Genesee Valley Nurses Association Nurse Administrator Award. She was awarded the March of Dimes New York State Chapter Volunteer of the Year, the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club, the 2010 Sojourner Truth Award. In 2011, she was inducted in the Monroe Community College Alumni Hall of Fame and is a 2012 graduate of Leadership Rochester, 2012 Athena Award and American Heart Association Women of Distinction Award finalist. Deb is the immediate past Northeast Regional Director for Chi Eta Sorority, Incorporated. Deb has been published in the American Association of Critical Care Nurses Procedure Manual, in the MedSung Nursing Journal, and the Critical Care Journal. She has conducted research on the topic of horizontal violence. Deb has been published on the Innovative Collaborative Nurse Leadership Model, the Chief Nurse Officer Council. And with that, I am very happy to introduce Dr. Vernell DeWitty and Dr. Deborah Stamps.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quinn, for that very humbling introduction. In the United States, there are 101 historically black colleges and universities. The Historical Black Colleges and University designation began with Title VIII of the Higher Education Act of 1965, which defined a historically black college and university as a higher education institution that was established before 1964 and whose primary goal was to educate African American students. And Part B of the Title VIII provides assistance to historically black colleges and universities by providing grants and funding to support educational resources and student services. Among the 101 historically black colleges and universities, there are 41 institutions with nursing programs and schools, and 29 schools have participated in our mentoring program that we're going to discuss today. Retention and graduation rates of racial and ethnic minority students continue to be a concern for higher education researchers, policymakers, and practitioners. Research by Berkner and their team in 2002 reported that over one-half of the Black and Latino students who enter a four-year college will fail to complete a bachelor's degree within 6 years of matriculation, a rate much higher than that exhibited of their white counterparts. Because of the low rates of completion and the negative consequences that accompany them, educators must make efforts to increase persistence and degree completion among this population of students. Mentoring has long been considered a retention and success strategy for students and is related to positive academic outcomes. Early research studies by Tinto's theory dating back to 1993 explained that a student's decision to remain enrolled in a college is a process of interactions between the student and the social and economic systems of their college. Current findings by Knorr and Crisp suggest that additional constructs must outweigh the influence of social and academic integration for minority students. The Mentoring Guidebook, developed by Dr. DeWitty, was designed to reflect current research findings in developing and implementing an effective mentoring experience that may benefit students from diverse backgrounds and improve academic success and persistence. During the webinar today, participants will be able to describe the Historically Black Colleges and Universities Mentoring Initiative, the mentor-mentee roles, benefits of mentoring, and the 4 phases of mentoring. Participants will also be able to define mentoring using the learner-centered model, and the mentor commitment. And we will discuss challenges that may occur during the mentoring process and identify next steps. Just to provide a little bit of background, in 2009, the Jonas Center for Nursing Excellence developed Understanding the Nursing Workforce, Public Policy for a Dynamic and Complex Market. This report reviews major policy issues related to the nursing workforce, drawing upon prior Urban Institute work, new literature review, assessment of the federal survey data, and key informant interviews. This report identified that the overall projections do not address the qualifications of nurses needed to respond to the shifting demands for various levels of care. Projections of nursing supply relative to demand vary across states and across regions within the states, particularly between rural and urban settings. Men, racial, ethnic, and language minorities are not well represented in the nursing workforce. Language skills are essential for high-quality care, and the availability of culturally appropriate care has been shown to improve patient outcomes. Moving forward, a nursing workforce agenda going forward should expand its focus beyond professional aspirations and advocate more strongly for policy relevance. In 2010, the Institute of Medicine's Future of Nursing report stated while the capacity of the education system will need to expand and the focus of curricula will need to be updated to ensure that nurses have the right competencies, a variety of traditional and innovative strategies already have been used across the country to achieve these aims. Examples include the use of technology such as online education and simulation, consortium programs that create a seamless pathway from LPN to associate degree to baccalaureate degree to the master's degree have all been identified. The report highlights a variety of challenges facing the nursing profession in meeting the changing needs of patients and the healthcare system. A major challenge for the nursing workforce is the underrepresentation of racial and ethnic minority groups and men in the profession. To better meet the current and future health needs of the public and to provide more culturally relevant care, the nursing workforce will need to grow more diverse. And that means that we need to have efforts to increase nurses' level of education attainment, and we must emphasize increasing the diversity of the student body. In January of 2010, the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching released a report calling for the radical transformation in nurse education. We also know that in that same year, 2010, President Obama signed into law unprecedented reforms to the U.S. healthcare system. In October of 2010, the Institute of Medicine released the groundbreaking report about the future of nursing to discuss innovation in nursing education. And in that November, the foundation launched the Future of Nursing Future Campaign for Action. Nursing education should therefore include opportunities for seamless transition to higher degree programs from, again, licensed practical nurses to the DNP, the Doctorate of Nursing Practice. In 2010, the Carnegie Report also spoke to or called for a radical transformation, which was part of a multi-year comparative study. In this study, there were suggestions that educators should make shifts in their thinking about teaching and in their approaches to fostering student learning. A focus shifting from focus on covering decontextualized knowledge to an emphasis on teaching for a sense of salience, situated cognition, and action in particular situations. There was also a recommendation from a sharp separation of clinical and classroom teaching to one that is an integration of the two. And also an emphasis on critical thinking to an emphasis on clinical reasoning and multiple ways of thinking. The American Association of Colleges of Nursing also has a statement, a diversity and inclusion position statement that I'd like to briefly share. There's relevant research that affirms that the core interests of the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, that the members want to advance diversity and inclusion and equity in academic nursing. They reflect the need to improve the quality of education by enhancing the capacity of academic nursing to maximize learning opportunities and experiences for nurses and faculty, which depend on significant ways on learning from individuals to diverse life experiences, perspectives, and backgrounds. They also go on to address the need for pervasive inequities in healthcare by ensuring the preparation of nurses and other healthcare professionals to meet the needs of all individuals in an increasingly diverse American society, and to also enhance the civic readiness and engagement potential of nursing students who will be in positions of leadership in healthcare as well as in society more broadly. The Future of Nursing Campaign for Action report urges a collaborative effort to strengthen the largest component of the healthcare workforce, nurses. Its recommendations are directed not only at nurses, but also at policymakers, payers, education institutions, and other health professions. Its release led to the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, AARP Foundation, and AARP starting the Future of Nursing Campaign for Action with the Center to Champion Nursing in America. And we have now more than 3 million members of the nursing profession, the largest segment of the nation's healthcare workforce, working on the front lines of patient care. Nurses play a vital role in helping realize the objectives set forth in the 2010 Affordable Care Act, and legislation that represents the broadest healthcare overhaul since 1965. Nursing leaders recognize a strong connection between a culturally diverse nursing workforce and the ability to provide quality, culturally competent patient care. Though nursing has made great strides in recruiting and graduating nurses that mirror the patient population, more must be done before adequate representation becomes a reality. The need to attract nurses from underrepresented groups in nursing, specifically men and individuals of African American, Hispanic, Asian, American Indian, and Alaskan Native backgrounds, is a high priority for the nursing profession. I will now pass the baton to Dr. DeWitty, who will provide an overview of the HBCU Mentoring Initiative.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stamps, for such a comprehensive and informative background to talk about this nursing initiative. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health in collaboration with the Center to Champion Nursing and the Future of Nursing Campaign for Action, have prioritized the issue of diversifying the nursing workforce. The first workshop that was offered in October of 2018 provided a mentorship training program for historically black colleges and universities. This partnership reflects the importance and the urgency to increase academic success for students enrolled in nursing schools at HBCUs. One direct result of the October training was that a collaboration of 3 HBCUs in the state of Maryland developed a proposal for a state-level mentoring partnership. In the next workshop that will be held in September 9th through 10th, 2019, it's expected that the participants of this will develop a shared community to support common areas of interest regarding mentoring and academic success of students. They will collaborate with their respective state action coalitions to initiate or update their programmatic work to diversify the nursing workforce as one strategy to assist in achieving health equity. And they will also develop partnerships and consultation agreements with the Campaign for Action and individuals with expertise in diversity and inclusion. The goals of this mentoring program are to contribute to the organizational goals of the institutions, to increase student retention, to increase academic success, graduation rates, and student employment after graduation. The data suggests that students who are successful in mentoring relationships are more likely to achieve their academic goals. And now, what exactly do we mean by mentoring? We define mentoring as a reciprocal learning relationship in which mentor and mentee agree to a partnership where they work collaboratively toward the achievement of mutually defined goals that will develop a mentee's skills, abilities, knowledge, and or thinking. Mentoring is a knowledgeable and experienced person who accentuates a supportive role of overseeing and encouraging reflection and learning with a less experienced and knowledgeable person. While there might be many definitions of mentoring across studies and programs, there is consensus across 4 central characteristics of all mentoring programs. First, mentoring relationships are focused on the growth and the development of the students, mentees. Second, mentoring experiences may include broad forms of support that include professional, career, as well as emotional support. Mentoring relationships are personal and reciprocal. Mentors have more experience, influence, and or achievements. Mentor and mentee work collaboratively in partnership to the achievement of defined goals. And now I will pass the ball to Dr. Stamps, who will continue to describe the characteristics and the roles of mentor and mentee.
Thank you, Dr. DeWitty. Who can be a mentor? Students who attend your nursing programs will come from diverse cultures, family, histories, and economic situations. They will bring a host of attributes, life experiences, and knowledge that they will want and need to connect to who and what they are learning in your program. A growing body of evidence suggests that faculty members, staff members, graduate students, community nurse leaders, and peers are all important to the college student's success and may serve as mentors. Faculty and academic advisors are critical to the student experience and are responsible for helping students navigate institutional, departmental, and programmatic requirements. Faculty can engage students through supervised research. Staff members also assist with student adjustment and advisement, and advancement towards degree attainment. Counseling and student services are also important to the academic experience. Graduate students often support the work of faculty and may be available to meet with students for support, examination reviews, and other support. Community leaders are practice partners who support the advancement of students and may also serve as mentors, especially students as students prepare to transition into the workforce. Peer relationships are very important to students and a vital source of academic and social support. This may be particularly important to underrepresented and first-generation college students. Research evidence suggests that peers enrich the learning process for students. The mentor role has the characteristics of being a facilitator. The role of facilitator is to create and maintain a supportive climate that promotes the conditions necessary for learning to take place, and this can be accomplished through a number of ways. First of all, the mentor is to be a positive professional role model. Assist the student mentee in deciding which issues are appropriate to be addressed during the mentoring relationship and which should be referred to another person. Introduce the student mentee to others. Assist the mentee with developing professional networks. And guiding the student mentee in developing skills of reflection and learning from their experiences. The mentor role must challenge assumptions and the status quo. This can be accomplished by providing positive feedback and also providing constructive feedback. Encourage independent decision making. Assist the student mentee to set professional career goals. Providing a listening ear. Listening is really key to many students' success. Many students want to know that their thoughts, concerns, feelings are being heard, and the mentor can provide this level of support. The mentor can also help the student mentee identify personal and professional development opportunities, be aware of personal values, beliefs, and ensure that these are not imposed on the student mentee. The mentor can provide support, encouragement, and inspire the student mentee, can help problem solve and identify potential solutions and relevant resources, and always, always, always be empathetic. The student mentee sets professional goals, takes appropriate advantage of professional development opportunities suggested by the mentor, sometimes making those suggestions and walking the mentee through the experience, provides ongoing coaching and support. The mentee role also needs to be willing to share openly with the mentor, be willing to accept constructive criticism and feedback, and disclose frustrations and concerns. This is an important part of the relationship and sets the mentee-mentor relationship up for success. The student-mentee role can bring forth professional and career issues for discussion. Again, the mentee can make their own decisions based on feedback that they would have received and guidance and support. They can help, the mentee can be prepared by the mentor to take risks, look for new challenges. All of these require the support of the mentor. Dr. DeWitty will share the learning-centered model at this time.
Thank you so very much, Deb. And now that you've heard about the roles of mentor and mentee, we're going to talk about what is this process of mentoring and the model that we are using as we present the workshops to the schools of nursing. The diagram that you're looking at represents the learning-centered model because that is how we view the mentoring process. There are elements in the model which consist of the mentee, the mentor, and then there is the relationship. You heard some descriptive language about the role of the mentor and mentee. In the learning-centered model, the mentee is viewed as an active partner, and this is based upon the adult learning principle that adults learn best when they are involved in diagnosing, planning, implementing, and evaluating their own learning. The mentor is a facilitator. The mentor is responsible for creating and maintaining a supportive climate that promotes the conditions necessary where learning takes place. The learning process is one where the mentee is responsible for their own learning. The length of a mentoring relationship is determined by the goals that are established and agreed upon by both the mentee and the mentor at the beginning of the relationship. We know that the mentor will be one of many mentoring relationships over the lifetime of the mentee. And it is the combined collection of these many experiences that will enrich the learning process for these new members of the nursing profession. The focus in the learning-centered model is upon knowledge acquisition, application, and critical reflection. So now, as a mentor, what are you asked to commit to? First, active listening and to give feedback without judgment. Second, to be able to work through relationships that may arise in the mentoring relationship, as well as evaluating the process and learning about yourself. You are asked to commit time to mentoring and to make it a priority, to build a relationship with the students that you mentor and communicate openly, and most important, to facilitate students' learning. I'm going to go back. The slides have advanced too quickly. So I'm going to ask our hosts to move the slides back to slide number 28, please. Okay, so what can you expect to gain in the mentoring relationship? First of all, you can expect to gain pride in being a part of someone else's growth and development in the nursing profession. Second, your own personal growth and development will be enriched. You will have a relationship with the new person and the satisfaction of sharing your knowledge and experiences. You will practice listening and giving feedback as well as inspiring others. Now, let's take a deeper dive into the mentoring relationship. And what is it about, and how does it develop? The anatomy of a mentoring relationship can be viewed as having 4 phases: preparing, negotiating, enabling growth, and facilitating learning. We know that each mentoring relationship is unique. And in the first phase, you are preparing for the relationship. The preparation takes place for both the mentor and the mentee. This is the time when you get to know each other. You might share some of your own mentoring stories. What were some of your mentoring experiences, and what will you take forward into this new relationship? You will talk about the mentee and your goals. You will determine the relationship needs as well as expectations. And you will discuss, hopefully, some of your learning and communication styles. The next phase of the mentoring relationship is negotiating. This is the business phase of the relationship. And this is where you, the mentor and mentee, agree on the learning goals, and you begin to define the content and the process of your relationship. Together, you create a shared understanding of the assumptions, expectations, and goals. You will discuss issues such as how do you ensure confidentiality, and what does that mean to the both of you? What are the boundaries that you wish to establish, as well as the limit? And also how you will be accountable to each other as well as to the relationship. This is a time where you will talk about the ground rules, things such as when will you meet, how frequently, for how long, what are the role expectations, how you plan to communicate, and then the feedback. The third phase of enabling growth is where the rubber really starts to hit the road. This is when you start to implement the relationship and where the real learning takes place. During this time, you will provide thoughtful and timely feedback. You will monitor the learning process to ensure that the mentee is meeting their goals that you've established and agreed upon. And you will also identify any obstacles to the process and how you will address them together. Enabling growth means that you will provide support by listening, providing structure, serving as an advocate, and sharing yourself. You will enable growth by helping your mentee see, develop, and realize his or her own mission. You will also identify challenges for your grantee. How can you provide challenges that will engage discussions and set high standards for your mentee? And the fourth phase of the mentoring relationship is coming to closure. As we know, all good things must come to an end. And so it is with the mentoring relationship. You will decide how it is that you're going to come to closure in the relationship, the lessons that are learned. You will discuss how to apply the learning and the next steps. You will evaluate, acknowledge, and celebrate the goals that have been accomplished for both you and your mentee. You must decide how you want to structure the closing relationship with your mentee, how you will apply the learning, and how you will re-engage if you so choose, and what will happen after the relationship ends. And most important, how then do you let go and move forward? After that description of what this mentoring relationship is, how it is built, how it is designed, how it moves forward, the next question you might be considering is, am I ready to be a mentor? Reflect on these. I want to be a mentor because my experiences will help me contribute to my mentee by who have been my mentors and what did I learn? What am I willing to do to help this mentee? Then you might decide to think about, well, what are the skills? And do I have the skills to be a mentor? Some of the skills that are necessary are building and maintaining relationships, communicating, encouraging, facilitating, guiding, and listening. As with all relationships, there may be obstacles that are encountered in a mentoring relationship. We find that some of the obstacles that are experienced are a result of lack of role clarity. And the four categories that we are looking at when we talk about the lack of clarity have to do, first of all, role collusion. And what that means is that this is a mentoring relationship that coasts along. It coasts along, it never gets to its destination. However, if early on in the negotiating phase, if you established goals and you check in on those goals, then that is one way to mitigate this kind of an obstacle. The second would be role diffusion. And this is when the mentor assumes more roles that is reasonable. And once again, during the phase of negotiation, if you are establishing boundaries and limits, you mitigate this kind of an obstacle. The third is role confusion, lack of clarity about overlapping roles and responsibilities. Again, during the phase of negotiation, you will be able to clarify expectations early in the relationship. And the fourth area is that of role protrusion, which is where the mentor may inject into situations where they may not belong. Another aspect to consider in your role as a mentor is the accountability. And accountability is necessary for the relationship for both mentor and mentee. In establishing your ground rules, for example, with the meetings, when, how, the frequency, what happens if you have to cancel a meeting, how do you give feedback, how and when to end the relationship. Ground rules from the beginning. Confidentiality. Early on, talk about What does this mean? What is it okay to share and not to share? And then boundary setting. What are the limits of the relationship? And this is another piece, hot buttons. What are your hot buttons, and what are the hot buttons of your mentee? In the partnership agreement that's established in the negotiating phase, agree on goals, set the criteria for success, establish the ground rules for the relationship, and speak to contingency planning. And periodically, when meeting with your mentor, reflect on, are we doing a good job communicating? Are we honoring our mentoring agreement? Are we giving feedback that is thoughtful and that is constructive? These are all parts of being accountable to the relationship. Let's talk a little bit about feedback, because feedback is information about past behavior delivered in the present, and it may influence future behavior. And feedback can feel threatening. You might have memories of getting feedback from someone who is more powerful than you are, and they begin with, well, I'm sharing this with you for your own good. So a few comments about feedback. First of all, giving feedback can be hard work, because what you are reflecting on are your perceptions in a way and trying to make it meaningful to the person that you're giving it to. Introspection is always very helpful here. Be clear. Why are you giving the feedback? Be specific. Tell your mentee what you perceive and the meaning that you give to that perception. Speak to the behavior. Speak to the things that someone can choose to do something about. Be direct and avoid preambles such as, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but. So set the stage and create the expectation that feedback will be part of the process. Give the feedback, waiting until the relationship and the trust is established. And when you're giving the feedback, ensure privacy and address positives as well as opportunities for improvement. And then, as the mentor, ask for feedback. Listen. Ask questions for clarity. Ask, listen, thank, reflect, and follow up. Sometimes there is conflict. And if there is conflict in the mentoring relationship, here's some thoughts. Develop a supportive environment. Understand and be clear about what you want to happen. Listen openly and accurately. Check the meaning behind the message. Seek to identify a common goal. Discuss issues rather than opinions. And stay solution-focused. As you come to the close of the mentoring relationship, self-reflection is important. Prior to the time that you meet for the closing of the relationship, take the time and reflect on, in what ways did I grow and develop as a mentor? What did you learn about yourself? How has that learning contributed to your professional development? What mentoring gifts and strengths were you able to identify in yourself? And finally, consider what action steps do you want to take and when would you want to take them? And now we're going to ask Dr. Stamps to speak with you about next steps.
Thank you, Dr. DeWitty. I'd like to share with you a few case study examples on how mentoring can make a difference. The first organization I'd like to speak about is one of our partners on the mentoring journey with the Historically Black Colleges and Universities, Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated. Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated is a professional nursing organization comprised of a diverse group of nurses and student nurses. There are more than 8,000 members, and this organization was founded at Freedman's Hospital, now known as Howard University Hospital, on October 16, 1932. The organization has both graduate nurse chapters, those are nurses that have licenses, as well as more than 50 student nurse chapters located on many college and university campuses across the nation. I'd like to describe one graduate chapter experience. On the campus of Hampton University, there is a student chapter called Tau Beta Chapter, and they have been doing a lot of work with students, providing support, guidance, and mentoring through the engagement that they offer, providing service activities on the campus and within the community. The student chapters of Chi Eta Phi Sorority provide also scholarships at the local, regional, and national level. The graduation rate continues to be close to 100% for Hampton University, and the first-time board pass rate is also greater than 95%. The members of Chi Eta Phi serve as mentors for the students at Hampton University. Another case study that I'd like to share is in regards to a pipeline development program in upstate New York. It is a hospital-based program where individuals can develop their career from being a certified nursing assistant, a home health aide, a licensed practical nurse, to becoming a registered nurse, a baccalaureate prepared nurse, master's nurse, and doctorally prepared nurse. Barriers to enhance entrance were identified and removed, such as prep for the T's of essential academic skills. There were partnerships with the community organizations to assist with funding so that it provided support to the students from a babysitting perspective, transportation, uniforms, as well as even providing tuition. And also the implementation of a life coach to help students navigate while life may be challenging and causing them not to focus on completing their education. During open houses of this program, it was identified by more than half of the participants that an evening program would also be a good way to enter the profession and get their education. At the time, the school did not offer an evening program. However, they did seek approval from the New York State Education Department, and the first class of 65 enrollees occurred just 2 weeks ago for the evening program. The first-time NCLEX pass rates for this program continues to be better than the state and national levels at greater than 90%. And with an increased diversity of student population, it was also identified the need to increase the diversity of the faculty, both from a race and gender perspective. We know also that that helps students remain in school. We know, in summary, that the implementation of a mentoring program can lead to increased student retention and academic success. Your role as a mentor is essential in the success of the program. The Mentoring Toolkit is a resource developed by Dr. DeWitty, will be provided to assist you and your mentee in the mentoring relationship. Are you interested in being a mentor? Let me share with you the next steps. If you are interested in being a mentor, please follow up with the Historically Black College and University School of Nursing that referred you to this webinar. If you found this webinar independently and you are interested in serving as a mentor at a historically black college and university nursing school, please contact that school and inquire about serving as a mentor. We also have, if you are interested in applying to be a mentor at a participating historically black college and university, to please access the SurveyMonkey questionnaire, which is outlined on your screen. It is an active link, and the link will be able to guide your interest and then connect you with the school of your desire. The link will also be available on the landing page where this webinar will be found. You may also contact the Center to Champion Nursing in America's project manager, Jasmine Cooper, and her email contact information is available here on the screen. Sorry about that. I wanted to also provide you a list of participating historically black colleges and universities. These are the 29 that are participating in the mentoring program at this time. I would like to, at this time, also thank Dr. DeWitty, Dr. Quinn, and the Center to Champion Nursing America for this opportunity to share this great toolkit for our mentors, and also the orientation for individuals seeking to be a mentor and the mentoring process. Thank you.